that can deliver us from all issues that are plaguing us economically. I do not belong to that school of thought. It's a product of lazy thinking or lazy minds. Please help me give him a round of applause. Because he has pitched it mainly from technology, I will narrow my intervention to my area of strength. But permit me to quickly do some acknowledgement. I cannot speak with the president seated without acknowledging him. I may lose my voice and my license. So the 15th president of CITN, I celebrate you, sir. The VP and all the ESCO members, the council members, the past presidents, the organizers of this. I think this is new, ZONAL conference. Every year. Okay, this is the first time I've been opportune or privileged to be part of it. And I must sincerely appreciate the organizer for inviting me. Because during the question and answer, you can see that everybody wanted to say something. Engagement I normally do as a standard practice is, what could be in the mind of the people who put this together? Okay? So what can I infer from this topic? 4 quick things. There is suboptimal revenue collection in the informal sector. I didn't know, Jeremy, that it is as huge. Did you say 49% of 51? I did not know it is so huge. And that is going to reinforce some of my recommendations. Okay? But now, there is pressure on us to expand revenue generation towards sustainable optimization. We do not want something that will be attained and drops. We want to go higher, and we want to sustain whatever we are able to achieve, so that the issue of volatility does not apply to whatever we are aiming for. He said, if you are running after something in the afternoon, it's either something is chasing you or you are chasing something. So whatever we are able to grab at the end of the day or attain does not disappear very fast. Then the third one is potentials of technology. And technology can do so much. And I'm happy that from ordinary payroll experiment, Remitter had moved to so many other things. And the last thing that just wowed me was, even for credit referencing. How these go and bring title documents. Go and bring C of O. Go and bring documents that you do not have, including even bank deposits. Then you ask, if I have all this, why will I need a loan? So we have been able to shut out so many people, but we are now seeing that technology holds the key. A senior friend of mine delivered a paper in OAU, and the title of his inaugural was "Man without technology is a laborer." A man, a professional working without technology is a laborer. You are just laboring. You are doing it the wrong way, and you are going to burn yourself out. So technology holds the key. And the last thing is the imperative of ramping up the informal sector and give it special attention. If we do not begin with a policy decision, we will talk and talk and talk. And talk is cheap. Okay? We will talk and talk, and anybody can talk. But the solution is action. So for the state boards that are here, and I'm happy there are quite a number of them, Mr. Gbenga Olaleye is here, the IRS boss in Ogun, a man who is technologically savvy himself because of his background. There must be deliberate intervention from policy dimension. And that quickly takes me to the practicality of what we are talking about. Now, we want to talk about those who are at the lowest bottom of the pyramid. As a starting point, we must admit the impossibility of bringing everybody on board. And also the unfairness. In line with the basic principles of taxation, there are people who require support. So I'm suggesting that there should be a threshold for personal income tax and also for other taxes. If you look at Peter, in UK, the threshold is £12,500. If you are earning below roughly £1,200 in a year, in a month, you are not asked to file anything. Okay? In South Africa, it is 83,000 rands. Then corporate tax higher, VAT also higher. Okay? Now, are we sure if we recommend that there should be a threshold for personal income tax, the state board will support it? I don't think so. But that may be due to short-sightedness. So this calls for research in terms of the big numbers. And there is a Shola who spoke from the back. Is Shola still there? That guy sounded so much like me. When I heard your voice, I thought it was me speaking. I would honestly like to meet you after this so that we can become friends. And I agree with your idea. We should have data of everybody, but it doesn't mean that we should tax everybody. If we do, there will be prices. And that means we are not tuned to right tax policy. There are people who should be supported. Hand income tax credit in America is a means whereby the system puts money in the hands of taxpayers so that they can reflect the economy. There are people that if you are asking them to pay to file taxes, it's as if you are sucking their blood. Because if you focus on the high net worth, you are going to get in 80% from just about 10%. Pareto doesn't apply in Nigeria, I think. I think 5% are even in control of 90%. So, like what Shola said, you cannot, is it fair? You are talking about the small fries, you are chasing them, and I can picture in the course of chasing them, some of them are being thrown under the bus, but you are leaving the fat cats untouched. And the current personal income tax system we never develop because you have it in a dysfunctional system whereby it is only the state who collects. What I've advocated in my writing is a handshake between the state, the federal, and the local government, whereby everybody pays something to each level, and we are able to ramp up data in such a way that nobody in the 5% is able to escape. States do not have the power to enter into treaties or conventions. Only the. Now, to now back up my thesis, let's look at the concept of presumptive tax. Because I like what Jeremy said. He said, we can make it as much as we want it. In Nigeria, it has an unacceptable scope. Because there are people who should not be in presumptive tax who are there. Let's look at the statutory basis. Is in section 36, subsection 6. And these are the elements of that section. Income tax cannot be practically ascertained. The records are not kept in such a manner that it will make assessment easy. Then, proper assessment of income is not possible. This is the first time I'm hearing what the Remy said, that give them, throw them some carrots, give them software that they can keep records and see the result. This is what they are doing in Rwanda. If Uber didn't give all those car owners those applications, will their business model succeed? No. If you travel to Dubai, you are going to see the meter, tax will be taken before the meter starts to read. So there are investments that the state must make. I had a brief chat with Shadi Afolaya over this. There are investments that the state must make because infrastructure of technology does not come cheap. It's very costly. So now, let's now look at the scope. When you talk about informal sector, who comes to mind? Somebody who has a roadside shop, a mechanic, people you just call and say, go and carry my bag. But if I ask, honestly, in this hall, are there people in the informal sector? You see that 95% will be in the informal sector. It's unacceptable. Okay? It's unacceptable because in schools, we were taught how to keep record. In law school, they taught us how to, and look, if professional organizations and bodies are playing their role actively, for failing to keep record alone, you can be disbarred. You can lose your license. But if you ask, if there is a lie detector here, I know the president will be 100% compliant, the VP, the former vice, and the professors that are here. But, so we will exempt all those people and say, lie detector, are you paying your... Everybody wants to come within the informal sector bracket, and it's not feasible. It's not feasible. It's not meant for that type of... And that is what speaks to the potentials of what we can get from the so-called informal sector. You are in the informal sector and you are using a Rolls Royce. It's as that mean. Those who control the economy, those who are in the political class, they are in the informal sector. There are cases where some pay as little as 200,000 naira per annum. And I'm happy Mr. Olale said, we are not making them to pay, but the question is, are they paying what they should pay? Okay? But if you look at our jurisprudence have even established that they don't even have to pay. That the constitution that prescribes qualifications does not include tax payment. Even when section 24F makes it a duty. But the court bastardized it through some dubious interpretation. So you see a situation where even TCC obtained on Saturday, TCC that lies on his face have been admitted. And they said, you are not the one who should dispute it. If Mr. Olale is not here, or Mr. Suba is not here, to say that this TCC is not genuine, we are going to rely on it. Based on some of our rules of evidence, you can say that is a correct law. But unless you are focusing on technicality and you are not looking at the substance, you are not looking at the damage that some of these things are causing this nation. Now, as I plan to round up, I had the privilege of being the chairman of National Tax Policy. It's one of my bragging rights because I work with some of the people here. Taiwo Yedele was in that committee and we put together a document that we're proud of. It's not a document that is perfect because we had only 5 weeks. A job that we should ordinarily need 2 years to do. And that document speaks to technology. So if you look at paragraph 4.4, there's a provision on technology and tax intelligence. Okay? Registration of taxable persons. Just providing the legal basis for what Jeremy spoke about. Because even if these ideas are good, and you do not sell it to the political class, the president doesn't talk about it. They cannot see the signature of the minister on anything. Nobody is going to touch it. But this is a document of the federal government, and it speaks to so many things that this is the direction. Okay? And it also talks about funding the tax authority. If LIRS has not been funded following its tax administration law, the people that are working there now will not be there. Because there won't be any future. You are just going to be in an organization where at the end of the day, you are going to queue before you collect your pension. And that is why people like Shade have been there for almost 20 years. Even when she can lecture, she just felt that the grass is greener on this other side. So funding is very key, and proper utilization of it is very key. Now, in our bid to address the issues of non-compliance in the informal sector, we have introduced TCC. And I want to ask you, Jeremy, which country is using TCC in this modern time? It's so antiquated. But the tax authority will say, oh, without it, people will not be paying. You are short-sighted. People want to do business. Without TCC, they cannot do business. If we do proper research, we are actually hurting the economy more than the revenue we are getting. I want to provoke certain new thoughts. Remember, I've said, it doesn't necessarily mean that. And I'm not speaking as cathedral. I'm just putting it out the way I understand it. Okay? We have even gone to the extreme whereby we are saying TCC before you stand as surety for somebody who is languishing in prison. So after you have sorted yourself in court, you also have to look for money to pay for bail as surety, and there is a racket. It's blood money. And all a product of circular by a CJ who is playing ball with the governor and who has been told that if you help us generate more money, we will fix all your courts. Have they fixed all the courts? Okay. So now, let me quickly go to recommendations. It will surprise you that since 2011, when Section 36(6) was enacted, no regulation has been made. That Section 36(6) says there should be regulation by the minister. That regulation does not exist because nature abhors vacuum. Some states have been filling that gap. But the issue is, does the state have power to even do this? So my first recommendation is presumptive tax regulation by the minister that is gazetted is long overdue. It's an embarrassment, and something should be done about it. Then we should have incremental enforcement of regulatory provisions. before you can ask somebody to pay, there are some gatekeeping roles for the tax authority. Failure to register a loan has a penalty. But you leave somebody who has not registered, you let him continue operation for 20 years. Somebody Sunday, you just spring on him and say, come and pay all the taxes you have not collected, you have not paid for. It doesn't make sense. And you want him to pay with interest and penalty. Where will he get it? If you change the address of your business premises, there are provisions that you should notify the tax authority. These are regulatory imperative requirements without which we are just doing armchair tax administration.